supposed to be kept private. Under different circumstances, I think Donald Trump would be infinitely more angry at Israel doing such things than Zelensky. This is a million times more disrespectful than what Zelensky has done. Zelensky has done nothing that was disrespectful, if we're being real. Okay? The dynamic is very different, and everything that Trump has said about Zelensky and about Ukraine, and everything that Trump has done about Zelensky and Ukraine is unironically what he should be doing about Israel. But he won't do it. He won't do it because he is a coward. Anyway, key details. According to Al Arabi Al Jadid, a leading source in Hamas confirmed exploratory talks with the U.S. envoy Adam Baylor 2 weeks ago, primarily discussing the release of at least 4 Israeli-American prisoners, all military personnel. The talks followed Trump's call for a gesture of goodwill in Hamas. Hamas's release of Israeli-American captive Sajoy Dekel-Chen in the 6th batch of the exchange deal. The Palestinian resistance group reportedly raised the possibility of a comprehensive deal to end the conflict. White House press secretary did not confirm or deny these reports. Additional sources, Axios, Times of Israel, suggest that Baylor has led multiple meetings with Hamas in recent weeks, aiming to secure the release of both living and deceased American hostages in Gaza. The U.S. has reportedly consulted Israel on these negotiations, though some details were withheld, causing tension between the two countries. Times of Israel and Axios reported on this. In the White House briefing, press secretary confirmed the administration's engagement with Hamas. She said Israel was consulted on this matter, and President Trump believes in dialogue and talking to people around the world in a good faith effort to do what's right for the American people. Wonderful stuff. I suppose those conversations didn't go well based on Trump's recent statement. I don't know if those conversations went well or not. I think that Trump's recent statement is not about the conversations going well. It's about the fact that he's trying to throw a flashbang into the conversation by coming out and saying some unhinged about Gaza, because otherwise people are going to pay attention to the fact that Israel leaked this information to the press and that Trump is actively talking to the Palestinians. It's going to frustrate the likes, I suspect, of Miriam Adelson and whatnot. Warmongers and libs didn't stand for a kid with cancer. I love that. I love that you're saying this while we're quite literally talking about Donald Trump's inability to deal with a ceasefire. Fantastic. I mean, liberals are warmongers. This is true, but the fact that they didn't stand for a kid with cancer is idiotic. This is an idiotic line of argument. I think he's posting the anti-Gaza shit to save face. That's what I think. Okay. This new Ynet article is looking crazy. Breaking: U.S. officials are losing patience. Israel's trying to sabotage U.S. talks with Hamas. Reports Ronan Bergman. Wow, I can't believe it. You're telling me for the first time, American officials...
It was she lived an amazing negotiating process.
Yeah, what? No way, dude. American officials are accusing Israel of trying to sabotage U.S. contacts with Hamas? No. Remember when I covered this yesterday? Wait, what? Israeli police assaulted the families of those killed and imprisoned inside the Knesset after they requested to attend a discussion on forming an official investigation committee into October 7 events, which Netanyahu and his coalition have blocked. Wait, what? I don't know about suppressed news. I need to see a real article on this.
I mean, I will say, in the same spirit, that's all. I have the same reaction to it. You're telling me that the Israeli police are beating up the families of the hostages.
Yeah, that's also shocking.
That's also never happened before, and not like only been filmed or photographed. Like a bunch of
the only people that the Israeli police don't beat are people doing pro-rape riots. Okay.
Yeah, it's like
people who are like.
That's when they put on like the kid gloves. That's when they bring out like the paddy wagon. That's like friendly and
that's
nice.
That's when they open the gates of the military facility that they've detained the rapist concentration guards at and release them into the public. So that's funny though. Knesset guards violently prevent victims' families from attending debate on October 7 probe. Oh my God.
They do this in the street. Like this has happened in the street too. I mean, it's really. And Netanyahu, like he takes like hits, he takes swipes at them.
Oh, it's so insane, bro. Ethan's gonna clip this and be like, Hassan is laughing at the hostage families for getting brutalized by the Israeli police. It is.
I will say I'm impressed with is that like a GIF in the article embed, or is that
Yeah, they made it into a GIF.
That's pretty.
Or GIF.
That's pretty good.
That is, how can people not look at this and be like, this is a troubling sign of a deeply unwell society. Okay. Like, just imagine they're American. Okay. Please. If you have any, I mean, this is a community that gets it.
I would say like one way to put it though is like what is it that's like about coming apart? It's not that like, oh, it's just that like the police are beating these people up. Cause like we've obviously have plenty of videos of like American police beating people up for doing nothing in a room or whatever. But I think what's kind of nuts about this is that like that these people are not given like the equivalent of like sitting in the gallery at the State of the Union for anything October 7th related, suggests that they have a political crisis and a social crisis that is tearing the country apart and turning these people into objects of hate by the government itself.
Yeah.
That's like which leads to situations like this.
Exactly. And the reason why I always like bring this back to America is because this is me talking to the liberal Zionists, basically the liberal Zionists that live in the United States of America, that still have some progressive values they maintain and haven't turned into Michael Rappaport. And they look to stuff like this and think this is simply a byproduct of Benjamin Netanyahu, not recognizing that there is a much larger problem. This is identical to conditions worsening in the United States of America as the American police and the American military become more aggressive towards civilians who have an understandable gripe and a reason to demand an adequate investigation, an independent investigation into the actions that caused their family members to die. Why would a government say, no, we're not going to do that? Why would they do that? If a 9/11 style situation occurred again in the United States of America and the family members were like, wait a minute, there's something really weird about this. Can we look into it? And the American military and American police were beating the shit out of those families.
Yeah, let's be clear. Like, there were a bunch of those families in the U.S. They just got ignored, which, is like what, at least in Israel's case, like, I mean, part of the problem is that like it points to the schism in this, is that like there's a bunch of people in Israel who like maybe that, like however they feel about the campaign in Gaza and all this other stuff, like meaning that they're probably for it, but that on the point of like they don't want to see violence against the hostages or whatever. But I mean that to me is like what seems that like it's evidence of how this stuff just gets politicized. It's like, oh, if people do care about it, then fuck it, let them get hit. You know, like try and show that like you don't care that they have people that care about them or whatever. It's a dissent that doesn't matter.
Genuine, honest, and a bit pessimistic question. Do you genuinely wholeheartedly believe anything good will come out regarding Palestine as a person with family and friends in the region? This has been the case for decades. Nothing new, just another cycle with a 1,000 to 1 kill ratio and no progress. Yes, I do. I definitely do. And I think part of that is because the contradictions worsen, as you see stuff like this happen in Israel, as you see the Israeli economy crumble, as you see the benefits go away, the benefits of being a Western adjacent nation go away for the average Israeli citizens, slowly but surely, they will leave Israel. This is why I regularly maintain the position that the greatest threat to Israel is not Hamas or Iran. The greatest threat to Israel is Sherman Oaks. The greatest threat to Israel is Beverly Hills. The greatest threat to Israel is Boca Raton. Okay? Because if a lot of the people that live in Israel go, why the fuck am I still here? I don't get any of my treats. I can still listen to the worst psytrance music anyone has ever heard and wear my capri pants in Boca Raton. They're just going to go to Boca Raton. And you're also going to lose, like you're going to inevitably lose like a lot of the academic resources that you have. Like you're going to have intellectuals and academics leave Israel as well. Especially with like the academic boycotts that take place too. You're basically shutting off your next generation by behaving in this like incredibly violent way. You're going to have brain drain.
I mean, just yesterday it was reported that there's a professor of computer science at Ben Gurion who posted under like the pseudonym John Brown on Twitter. I've seen his content. You've probably looked at tweets of his at some point or another.
Yeah.
But he like was suspended from his job, and he was like he was not publicly known that he was tied to this account, and it was because he said that Israeli soldiers had committed war crimes.
Yeah.
There's a computer science, this is like
the more shit like that happens, the more you hear about like 500,000 Israelis leaving Israel, the more the Israeli economy becomes unsustainable. That's why I said that's why I kept repeating over and over again that like this is going to turn into like Israel eventually, if they follow this trajectory, is going to turn into a nation filled to the brim with just like rabid, uneducated settlers, okay? Ultra fundamentalists, ultra Zionists that simply, are having differences in opinion and differences in agreement in the Knesset over like whether women can read or not with nuclear arms. Like that's unsustainable, okay? It's going to turn into a pure hog state, which it kind of already is turning into a pure hog state to begin with.
I mean, it's dependent on also like it's, like similar. I mean, I would argue like people want like they think everybody wants to be like a U.S. vassal, right? Because they think that they could get to be like Israel, favored military treatment.
Yeah.
They could develop like a, broad base, like industrialized society with a middle class and all these different things. And it's like it just projects this illusion of stability, all those things taken together over the last few years, when like